The faith-based action film Assassin 33 AD dares to bravely ask a complex theological question. What if we could go back in time to the final days of Jesus Christ and, I guess, essentially just make them as stressful as possible for everyone involved? Like, once these scientists in this movie are done with him, Jesus is practically climbing up onto that cross himself with his own set of drywall screws. So let's follow this movie's racially insensitive terrorist group as they use time travel to threaten the existence of Christianity, the very backbone of humanity's most violent atrocities. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna wait until we get at least 5 minutes in before I start siding with the terrorists. That was just satire, okay, FBI agent reviewing this video? All hail Jesus, or whatever. The out-of-control plotline for this movie, however, is not satirical. It's being completely earnest, with its incoherent cast of characters, insulting cultural implications, and the chance to see Jesus of Glendale meet the business end of a machine gun. I'll say a little prayer for you before this entirely too American installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello, television viewers. My name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web, and we break it apart into tiny little clips, like, as though it's the Bible. Sometimes I don't know what to say there. We look at each individual clip and decide, is that the real Son of God, or is it just some guy with a merkin glued to his face, as we will see in this movie. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns on faith-based films like this. Oh my god, this is a whole new breed. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week. So say your prayers, you little baby. Say your prayers. I'm warning you right now, the details of this movie can be very hard to keep organized and stay on top of, just like when trying to establish new healthy habits in our daily routine, which is why I'm so grateful to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Fabulous, the #1 self-care app to help you build better habits and achieve your goals. I've been trying to get more sleep and have a better nighttime routine, and it can be very hard to stick to something new or to carve out those neural pathways. Fabulous is like having a digital coach in my pocket, and they've created a community of over 30 million users because of how easy it makes it for anyone to build better habits, to feel healthier, more focused, and more fulfilled. With Fabulous Premium, you can choose between either the self-guided approach, which offers habit tracking that allows you to choose between over 100 healthy habits, or simply create your own so that Fabulous can send out timely reminders that keep you on track. There's also a guided approach using their dedicated programs. It's like these journeys put you into your own personal adventure that help you commit to new positive actions by working them into your daily routine. Every small step helps lead to long-lasting changes. You'll also be able to access support circles, online coaching, and ways to discover new exercises that will enhance your daily life. I love how Fabulous teaches me the science behind every task it has me complete, like signing a contract with myself to make sure I stick to my habits, which is shown to help inspire action and reduce procrastination. So start building your ideal daily routine. The first 100 people to click on the link will receive 25% off a Fabulous subscription. Now back to this movie, which has the habit of being bad. I watched the trailer and I knew this was going to be a wild one, but then I started the movie and saw Heidi Montag's name come up in the opening credits, and I knew for sure this was gonna be a wild one. And luckily I didn't have to wait long. Heidi is in the very first scene when we meet our not main character, but seemingly one of the most important people in the movie.
Went from saving an embassy and killing terrorists to now head of security at a research lab.
Daddy, look at that one. It looks like an elephant.
It sure does. That looks like it has a witch's face.
Oops, sorry, sweetie. That's just your reflection in the car window. I swear, we're gonna get you in to see an orthodontist as soon as I start this new job. I'm not even gonna come for that child actor's overly earnest cloud observation, because at least those 2 little girls coordinated on where that imaginary cloud is supposed to be. Heidi Montag and her overly expositional husband seem to be looking wherever they feel like. It's very common for the director and cinematographer to give the actors an eye line, so all the actors are looking at the same off-screen place. But whatever, I don't know why we could expect that in a movie that opens with an actor who kind of feels like a lower rate Gerard Butler. I call him Jared Butler. Also, I love the Operation Desert Storm sort of way in which they try to make him sound like a hero. He said, "I can't believe I used to save embassies, kill terrorists, waterboard civilians, pillage worlds." Like, okay, buddy, maybe they fired you because you didn't know how to give it a good PR spin. You don't just talk openly about blowing up hospitals over there. I think the government wants you to just call all of that like defending freedom. But in either case, you're just talking to your wife right now, not writing a cover letter for Indeed.com. Why are you talking like that? The exposition is the first sign of bad writing in a movie. Like, if you simply cannot think of a more clever way than to have your character state, like, "I can't believe we're going from point A to point B. What a world." Like, that's bad writing. The rest of the things going on in the scene, though, that's bad acting.
You're a hero to them. And you're my hero too, darling.
That British accent.
What British accent? What British accent, though? I feel like my brain just hit one of those banana peels from Mario Kart and spun off into a fractured multiverse. To my therapist, Kathy, this is why you got that 3 a.m. all caps text message from me saying, "They made Heidi Montag try a foreign dialect." I know my therapist doesn't watch my videos, but we're still working on the delusion I have that the whole world revolves around me. So, hi, Kathy. Also, hello, Queen of England. Hi, President George Washington. Hi, Harriet Tubman. Thank you so much for joining. Don't try to tell me the world doesn't revolve around me, because as I said, from my perspective, yes, it does. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a jump scare warning for this next scene.
God's got to do something really miraculous through you.
What kind of Fellowship of the Ring looking title cards are those? I thought the movie stopped and we just went into an ad for Raid Shadow Legends. In fact, I think this title design is even more jarring to me than the Lord working in mysterious ways by crushing your whole family with a truck. We've already seen this kind of sudden car crash, hidden miracle homicide on everything from Glee to the Hilary Duff movie Raise Your Voice to that British texting and driving PSA that gave me a panic attack once. I had never seen a baby in a neck brace before. It f***ed me up. A baby in a neck brace. Do-ah, do-ah. A baby in a neck brace. Hit with a car. I'm into jazz now. Okay, so anyway, the car came a-crashing. We hit the title card. The most bewildering thing is Brandt, this head of security that we just met, doesn't even end up being the real main character of the movie. So it's kind of a misdirect. He must have a head injury or something, because he crawled over to that baby doll like it was his tiny plastic son. Sir, your actual family is still on fire within the vehicle, so either keep crawling over to them or brush that Bozo the Clown hair. I love how this movie implies that Brandt survived by not wearing his seatbelt, while that mistake caused his wife and daughters to be exploded. See, kids, seatbelts are the actual enemy. Without them, you'll just be thrown harmlessly yards ahead onto hot pavement, apparently with hair that looks like you just got electrocuted in a Home Alone movie. I also feel like the title cards came at a weird point in that scene. Like, it could have shown him crawling to the car and then, like, you know, the car explodes and we pan up and then it goes to assassin. Because otherwise we're just flipping back to his little crying with his hair undone for 1 extra second before we go to this quiet college class where we meet the actual leads of our movie, mainly this young scientist named Ram. Ram is in The Bull with the Horns, or What You Do with a Dildo. Oof. Stop improvising, Nicholas. We got a movie to get through. Anyway, his name is Ram Goldstein, and Amy something is this cute girl that he's talking to in class. I don't know how they're meeting for the first time at their final test and not at any point during the semester, but okay. What you'll notice is that the actress who plays Amy has a very distinctive vocal cadence.
If you're so brilliantly smart, how come I've never heard of you? Maybe if you're in the top 4 scorers, you can make $500,000 a year. Bet you dinner tonight. You didn't ace the test.
She really just said, scuba dooba dooba, Ronald McDonald, dooba dooba. Like, sis, you are serving vocal fry, hold the dipping sauce. which certainly doesn't help sell a lot of this preposterous dialogue. She'll all of a sudden be like, if they assassinate Jesus, there'll totally be no one to sing to you on Christmas. Okay, sweetheart, don't hurt yourself. Anyway, Amy is sort of charmed by this man who, even though they're in the same program, she seems to concede is like much smarter than him right away. And I'm like, girl, he's an idiot. He's like, I live in a basement, but it's really, I'm letting my parents live with me because I make so much money doing contracting work. It's like, then why are you even in school? Go to hell. Anyway, they have their date, and you can tell Ram doesn't like to get out much. By the way, meeting two characters who might be the lead of the movie named Brant and Ram. Why? Why? So similar.
Well, ready to go to dinner?
I thought we might eat here. How do you like your steak?
Amy, don't be afraid to tell him that you like your steak not from a basement mini fridge. And also you like your vegetables not soaking in the juice of that raw meat. We got a couple of time scientists who have never heard of foodborne illness. I can kind of see why the screenwriter wanted to use time travel as a device to kill these characters multiple times. They kind of are only ever annoying and stupid. We do, however, get this really subtle piece of info that lets us know about Amy's spiritual beliefs.
We're just praying.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I don't...
Just a dinner prayer.
Ram is like, a dinner prayer? Whatever happened to the separation between church and steak? But seriously, Amy, he's already told you that his last name is Goldstein, so maybe keep that prayer nice and Old Testament for the first date. Save all that missionary work for the bedroom, if you know what I mean. I'm talking about straight people f***ing. The church hates when I do that. The church of me being gay hates when I do that. My own church that I've started, which is why I don't pay taxes. Okay, they go right into this super bumming me out, I guess, type of montage that shows their relationship begin over the course of one night? Or no, there's 2 shirt changes. So it's at least 2 dates where she like teaches him to loosen up and dance a little and messes up his hair. And he's like, okay, whatever. It all seems symbolic for her also introducing the Christ and Lord to him, but you know. Next we go over to Brant, who is no longer the clean-cut head of security who we saw at the beginning. He's depressed and wearing cargo shorts because his family died. I just love him in this like filthy rundown apartment, but wearing really clean clothes like he's about to go on a yacht. Anyway, the movie could have started probably right about here for sure. Clearly Brant is mourning the loss of his family. He's even considering taking his own life, it would seem. And he's telling God, like, why'd you do this to me? I don't know, Brant, but I would start by guessing it had something to do with that hair. Like, you look like Bradley Cooper in a drum circle. Anyway, we go and meet Amy and Ram again, now as recent graduates. They've been hired along with this guy, Simon and Felix, 2 other they keep calling them kid geniuses, and I'm like, they seem fully adult, but yeah, I get it. They're working for this kind of science mogul named Ahmed, and they don't really know what they're working on, but it's all about like trying to teleport items from one place to another, like the Fly. Brant starts his first day as head of security at this job after taking time off to mourn his loss.
We are sorry for your loss. I felt the same way.
You defy Allah and declare yourselves as Christians. The penalty is death.
Racist Republicans are going to tell their children that this was Disney's live-action Aladdin reboot. The filmmakers are very careful to be like, we're not saying that all Islamic people are violent extremists. Just, you know, all of the Islamic people in this movie are. And it's not even that bad. We're just saying that people from the Middle East wanna chop your mom's head off if she loves Jesus. How are we supposed to know that that would offend some people? Sorry if you were. I am baffled by this movie's decision to make what ends up being the main protagonist of this movie a Middle Eastern extremist. That's a completely unnecessary detail. He could have just been like a greedy white businessman, and then they're not making any sort of problematic assertions that they have to clear up by being like, no, it's not Islamic people, it's just this extremist group. It's like, an extremist group could be any, then why do they have to be Islamic? You wrote it. This isn't based on historical truth. It's a fucking time machine movie, girl. I also love making these like underexperienced child actors portray what would be the most traumatic event of your life. They're like, put a hat on him and have him scream no. He's like, no, mother. I want this to be a powerful scene because it's obviously dealing with something intense, but it's just not. It looks like they shot this on a bright day in Dallas, Texas. While Amy is necking with her beau, he's like, listen, I was spying on our boss, which I'm like, when did you decide to do that and why? What? They just like cram in these random things and it's like, that could have used some motivation or, seeing it on screen. Either way, he intercepts this communication from Ahmed and finds out something very troubling.
It won't be long before we can transfer supplies, bombs, and more.
Make sure you get this right.
Extremists killed Ahmed's parents. Why would he work with them?
Must be Stockholm Syndrome.
Amy's like, Stockholm Syndrome? Oh, sorry, at my church we actually call that Afghani madness. Well, okay, great. I guess you're both quantum psychology students now too. That's very impressive for two scrawny youngsters who seem to have shockingly small head sizes. It would literally be easier for these two kids to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. There's also a camel in there somewhere, but as I told that priest in my last confession, some of this Bible shit sounds wild to me. Like Amelia Bedelia called, "You're being crazy." That book is like, thou must only pump your seed into someone else's hole or it's a sin. Like, it's Easter Mass, Father John. My grandma's sitting right here. I also love the terrorist plot is now that we can transport matter, we can transport
Supplies, bombs, and more.
the trifecta of xenophobic threats. Somehow, unrelated to him witnessing this exact conversation, Ram is instantly apprehended by Ahmed and his men, who find out that he's been spying on them, and he sort of explains and admits to his whole evil plot. Again, like, this could all be much faster. Like, they could be witnessing it from around a corner, or they're listening in on the secret audio device and it glitches and they're like, who is that? Something exciting to watch rather than just two unrelated scenes where it's like, we did the thing, now we're caught for the thing. I want fluidity to this story. So Ahmed basically admits to, what's his name, that yes, I'm using your studies to try and build a time machine, because somehow it turns out that while trying to create teleportation, they've actually created a time machine, which to me is another confusing point. Like, you can just cut out the whole teleportation thing ever being a goal, because that confuses the audience and me, and I'm the audience. See how smart? Ahmed's like, anyway, my new plan is just to go back in time and kill my parents. It's to kill the people who killed my parents. Makes sense. Even though that doesn't make sense because he's already working with the extremists who killed his parents. So what?
All I want is to go back in time and stop the men that killed my parents.
But changing time would create an overriding time continuum.
So no one would know the difference. Who cares?
Imagine the world today without Hitler.
Okay, Ram, feel free to take an extra moment to make sure you're really happy with the phrasing of that argument. Like, I get what you're saying about changing the timeline or altering reality, but not everyone's gonna love it if you come out of the gate swinging with that point about how important Hitler was to human history. That's a very abstract example. Save it for the AP classes. Ram wants to refuse to do further work on this time machine because he now knows that Ahmed's intentions are so sinister or could easily ruin and alter the course of human history. So they detain him and shock him with a taser whenever he resists. And he totally misrepresents this to Amy and the other scientists, being like, Ram just taking the rest of the day off, don't worry, while forcing Ram to work. And when Ram still resists, they're like, what about this torture object? This is where my head was really starting to hurt. This is another dark example of screenwriting, but not handled well.
I seem to recall you said if someone killed your parents, you would go back in time to save them. Any last words for your parents?
Mom, Dad, I love how you're experimenting with taupe eyeshadow, but the placement is all wrong. This is probably the first Christian movie I've seen that shows 3 different characters witness their families die in a horrific tragedy within the first 30 minutes. And honestly, I'm glad we're cramming all of this in. With science fiction writing, you really want the first act to be as convoluted as possible before even introducing the concept of time travel. It helps the audience abandon all hope of following your movie's logic. Just like in the Bible when the shepherd Jacob abandoned his flock to go search for the magical wooden spoon. Oh, sorry, that's a extra deleted scene from the Bible. They cut it because it sounded particularly nonsensical. Also because I made it up. Rant takes Ahmed out to the hall and he's like, I didn't sign up to watch you slaughter people's parents. And he's like, don't worry, I'm just gonna go back in time and undo it later. It's all good. So Rant is clearly conflicted by this, not great job. And then back in that room, room, they go ahead and literally shoot Ram's mom and dad in front of him. And he's like, oh my God, what the f? And then the guy's like, I know that you're in love with Amy, and has the video of them kissing in the closet. And he's like, I'm gonna torture her so bad, you're gonna wish your parents were still alive and you would kill them yourself or whatever. So he's like, fine, I'll do it. Just let me go back in time and kill my parents and save you. Stop, reverse the thing where you just killed my parents. And Ahmed's like, did you think I would really let you do that? Because you could just go back in time even further and stop me from even discovering time travel through you anyway. So it's like, ooh, your parents are dead for real? Mama, we're cooking the books on this movie. Normally Christian movies don't get this dark. And also to have a frankly not strong actor try to portray the misery, shock, and trauma of this torture is really getting lost. It's really making it seem like this is not easy to take seriously. We'll say that. So they put Ram to work, and he finally configures things to a point where they successfully transfer one of the guys who's like, oh, and then he transfers, and so they're like, great, we're doing it. Somehow we're doing it. And then one of the like helpers of the terrorist assistant, I guess, they're trying to make the point that in the Islamic faith, people believe that Jesus is a prophet, but they do not accept that he is the son of God. So this guy is like, but Jesus is a prophet, we should honor him. And Ahmed is like, we are honoring him. When Jesus was hung on the cross, it allowed his followers to create the resurrection myth that gave birth to Christianity. So if we kill him when he's just a prophet, then, you know, Christianity will cease to exist. I was like, okay, on the nose explanation. I guess we needed to incorporate a little Schoolhouse Rock education into here to understand exactly why these extremists are doing this. So Ram manages to escape and find the other scientists, and they watch right as Ahmed sends his like SWAT team troop along with Brandt, the security guard, back to 33 AD. I'm sorry, but I thought Jesus died in the year 0, like AD, BC. BC is before Christ. Oh no, before Christ, so like before the year of Christ's birth, so 33 years ahead of his death. I get it. I just did straight up science. I did my own, what's the thing where they study human history? History. So anyway, in the year 33 AD, our SWAT team of terrorists arrive, and it calls Jesus, who's praying by a rock, to the camp, where they instantly start mowing everyone down with machine guns. I can't imagine how crazy it would be to be in like a prehistoric age, and then these people in modern clothes with machine guns start, you would think this is hell on earth. And Rant is number one on the leading the charge, shooting down all of these disciples. And then he goes up to an injured Jesus, and he's like, Jesus, you killed my daughters. And it's like, I don't know if that's true. Like, this is crazy.
If you really are the Son of God, you can stop these bullets. Unless I allow it.
You just speak English?
I honestly didn't notice because I was so distracted to learn that Jesus had a beard made of pubic hair. These were the kind of colorful details that were missing from my Sunday school education as a child, and I also probably would have paid more attention if they could have found a way to incorporate the Venga boys. The Son of God is coming, the Roman gods are running, his name is Jesus Cristo, he'll bless your fish and bread loaves. Speaking of bread loaves, while we're here, can someone explain to me why bread in the Bible sounds so delicious when they describe it in stories? I'm like, give me a basket of that biblical bread. I guess they just make it sound delicious because it was like their only food source at the time. Which is why if I invented a time machine and went back to Bible Town during Bible time, it would not be to assassinate Jesus. I would just be the first person in the world to invent that garlic dipping oil that they give you at Italian restaurants. Then I would be financially set for life, and you don't have to worry about the space-time continuum. What harm could come out of giving Bethlehemians something to lube up their bread with a few years early? Come on, the people were praying for it. They said, give us this day our daily bread and deliver it with dipping sauce. So after wasting precious minutes of my life by explaining to the other kid geniuses Ahmed's plan, Ram convinces all of the other teens to put on their little magic wristband Fitbit receivers that they need or their bodies will explode. And then they follow Rant's team back to Bethlehem, but they go 10 minutes before Rant's team got there. So they got like a jump start on Rant's whole team arriving. So they witness the SWAT team go and shoot down all of those disciples. I'm not in love with the rampant gun use in this movie, like not today, Satan. But Amy's like, how could this happen? If Jesus allowed himself to die, it must be part of God's plan too. And it's like, you would think, but I'm starting to wonder if there's even a plan. At this point, it's like a loose outline that God created, and he abandoned that years ago. So now the team has to go back to the present, and I don't know why they even did this, but they have to go back to the present. They decide to go in groups. They send Felix and Simon first, because he's like, no, second. Because Ram is like, me and Amy will go first, but Ahmed's teams might be waiting there to kill us the second we arrive in the present day. So if that happens, it's up to you, Simon and Felix, to avenge my death. And I created this special code called Mom and Dad Forever or something that I programmed while I was asleep that will put us all to 10 minutes before any of this movie even started, I guess, right? Where does it bring them to? So this little cheat code brings everyone back to the warehouse 10 minutes before they killed Ram's parents. So that's like always the save point that they can go back to, I guess. Don't worry about it. It's a lot of extra detail. Sweet Jesus. Sweet pubic-faced Jesus. So going ahead of Felix and Simon, Ram and Amy transport back to the lab and get a run on the surprise teams who thought that they were all locked in the cell, and they run out the door and everyone's like, what the hell?
What happened here?
We were prepping the machine and Ram and Amy just appeared on the transfer pad.
What?
That's impossible. I locked him in the cell myself.
Okay, I understand that the space-time continuum is getting like brutally fist-fucked right now, but what happened to that guy's Middle Eastern accent?
Don't be a moron. We'll all be cursed.
Okay, so Sabir's dialect does sometimes veer off into slightly Russian-sounding territory, but they just chose a take with him using his full-on SAG-eligible actor from Dallas, Texas voice. Maybe he was trying to back out of his character speaking that way, but the director was like, cut, Jacob, we need you to remember to do the terrorist voice or it won't match with your terrorist face. Sorry, terrorist costume. So if you can fire some machine guns into the air while screaming praise Allah, we're trying to scare up some white supremacy here, right everyone? Okay, let's go to lunch. They have so many extraneous scenes like where Brant and Amy run into this unused laboratory and we have to see a whole conversation about them locating Ram and Amy. Like it seems to be one high school that they're using after dark, so just find them. Also, you can tell when they're moving in this scene, there's a lot of green screen sets. These digital sets that you can do in a green screen studio are getting surprisingly convincing, especially with these Christian movies where it's like it takes a few watches to be like, oh, that's a chroma key background. That would save you so much money. It's basically just flashing lights and a green screen. They could shoot this in like 2 weeks. So after transferring back to the laboratory, they realize they're like a full hour later than they needed to be. This is really hard to follow.
We should have roughly returned around 2:20 a.m.
Wait, daylight savings time. It started tonight.
Einstein's clock resets at 2:20. It must have overcompensated and sent us back an hour early.
Okay, now I think I'm starting to become radicalized against these two people specifically. Like, I don't want to kill Jesus, but at this point, it might be fun to at least go back in time and watch him die, just because I know it's gonna piss Amy off. So Amy figures out, okay, what was I doing at that time? Oh, I was watching security footage. And she has this brilliant idea. Maybe if, just watch.
What are you doing?
You're not the only genius here. Ram's time machine to go back in time and kill Jesus.
Okay.
She said, I don't actually know sign language, so I'm just marking my way through some old high school cheer routines. Ready? Okay. If you can communicate in ASL, please let me know if she's using real signs there, because I'm pretty sure I saw her just rolling on the river with Tina Turner at one point. Okay, so Amy manages to warn future her via, basically this time travel creates clones. So Amy is in the lab and she communicates a warning to future Amy right before the bad guys come in and shoot both Amy and Ran. But don't worry, it's just this alternate version of Amy and Ran. Amy watches herself die. And they're like, listen, we gotta go find present day Ram, who's you just told us is in the East lab. So I would already be like, I'm up from watching myself get shot in the head just now, but okay. Meanwhile, back in 33 AD, Felix and Simon mean to follow the other two back to the future, but only Felix transfers because Simon's wrist thing kind of sparks and leaves him stranded there. So Felix is immediately captured, and as they're walking, the timeline starts to rewrite itself to match Jesus being killed, and then it rewrites itself again because they keep changing the past. That, like, what am I supposed to tell you right now to make that sound clear? I couldn't even, if I drew a diagram on this wall, it would look even more crazy.
Finally, a world without filthy Christian scum.
This is your world. A world without forgiveness.
Sorry, but Jesus definitely didn't invent forgiveness. Just saying, I probably won't become a radical extremist about it like this movie thinks. The only radical extremes I ever go to are at the skate park. Rocket power! So then somehow the bad guys all disappear in that timeline and Felix is left alone in this like desolate wasteland where Christianity never existed. And I guess that version of Felix stays in that reality forever. I don't remember if they ever get him out of there. So he's just stuck in hell forever. That version of him starves to death in the apocalypse. And I'm here for it. I wish we could see all the characters suffer the same fate. Fate. Okay, so next, all 4 of the kid scientists from a previous timeline go back to 33 AD as a group one more time and instantly have a shootout with the bad guys to stop them from killing Jesus, which they do, but it also ends up killing Felix, Simon, a bunch of guards, so they send all the dead bodies back to the future because Ram survived, he didn't get shot, but Amy did get shot and now she's dying in 33 AD. And I don't know why they can't go back to the future, doesn't matter.
Let's just stop the bleeding.
Ram, sweetie, are you forgetting that you invented time travel? I feel like that's gonna do more to hit Control Z on Amy's machine gun wounds than whatever you think taking off your pants will do right now. Do we even really need to worry about blood loss here? Because Amy just got shot up like she was America, and we never see a single drop of entrails on the ground. She must have the blood of Christ inside of her blood, which means double the platelets. So when Ram goes to follow some of the escaped guards, which include Brandt, the guy from the car accident, who is the one who shot Amy, Ram also runs into Sabir, the guy with the inconsistent accent, and they chase each other, somehow allowing some person from 33 AD to pick up a handgun. This is from Ram, who's like, it's really important that we don't do anything to alter the past or the butterfly effect could have grave consequences. And then he starts like teaching a street merchant how to use Facebook. Like, honey, listen to yourself. So then Simon, who is stuck in some timeline, uses a stick to jog his wrist thing into working again, and he goes back to right around the time Jesus was praying at that rock before the SWAT team showed up. So Simon is able to talk to Jesus and be like, you can't go back to that camp or you're gonna die. I was sent from the future. And Jesus is like talking to him in English, which to Simon proves that he is really the Son of God, because how else would he be speaking this language that hasn't been invented yet? And I'm like, I fucking hate this. And Simon, I guess, honestly, this is the least boring scene because Simon's like being funny. It kind of feels like a one-act play, like a stage play of a modern man meeting Jesus. Because Simon's like, I watched your movie. Peter cut someone's ear off. You saved Peter. Here's what happened. So Jesus is like talking to his dad, God, and he's like, thank you for telling me all of this. You've proven that I need to go down there and die. Yeah, I guess that's it. Jesus basically is very calm about his future of being killed. He's like, it should be whatever is supposed to be. I don't know either. So Ram is chasing Sabir and sees an altercation in which Peter gets his ear cut by a Roman guard. I'm like, that must be a deep cut from the Bible, because I read that book and I don't remember her. I don't remember that queen. Anyway, Ram runs through to try to steal the gun that these people now have, and again, you're altering history a lot here. Like, a lot. Wow, you really don't see much rear nudity in these Christian films. Probably because the Bible never makes any direct references to humans even having a butt. So it puts theologists in a tough spot. Do we, don't we? Up to interpretation. So anyway, I suppose Ram showing us his whiter than the Holy Ghost crack is progress, but he is a fictional character. So it still brings me no closer to discovering the truth behind the question at the center of my new paranormal investigation show on Hulu. It's called Discovering with Nick DiRamio. Did Jesus have a hairy ass? The truth is out there and I'm gonna find it. I love how you could even see the nude, like, modesty garment under Ram's stupid boxers there. It's like, clearly you wanna do another take where the poor actor doesn't have to actually pull his underwear back up because some extra just stuck his hands down his pants. Like, we're crazy out here. So, back in the lab, all of those dead soldiers arrive back. Oh, the kids had this great plan. There wasn't a shootout because the kids didn't have guns. They just stood where where the people were gonna teleport with sticks, and then most of the bad guys appeared and like had sticks impaled in them. So back at the lab, they're like, there's gunshots in some people, sticks in some people. This is crazy. Sabir runs into the other leader of the security team, Brandt, out there, and Amy is still dying of gunshot wounds. Oh, Sabir and Brandt have to like make themselves seem like regular village people of Bethlehem, or Nazareth rather. So they steal some garments and they start walking through town. And stupid Sabir instantly steals food. He like grabs a tomato, which didn't exist in the biblical times. But that obviously leads to the two of them getting arrested by Roman guards, creating more of a ripple effect as they go. Not those sandals from Payless shoe store kicking up dinosaur dust in the land of Nazareth. You know what, it's fine. I think a lot of historians are still debating whether or not Jesus gave each of his 12 disciples a gift card to Marshall's for their resurrection doorbuster sale. You know, like when they busted open the door of his tomb to see if he had risen. Mama, that's a miracle. Praise Marshall's. There's this crazy scene where Jesus, who is now being followed around by Simon, it has to carry the cross to his crucifixion, just like, you know, in the Bible. And Simon actually picks up the cross and helps him carry it. I'm like, that's really making a big spectacle of yourself. Like, they're gonna be talking about this random guy who looks like nobody else from this period of time, who came in and helped him carry a cross. Like, girl, make yourself hide. So anyway, Ram shows up to Jesus's execution with Amy in his arms, and they're like, can you help me heal Amy? And they're like, ask Jesus. He's up on that cross. And then shockingly, we see that Brandt, the security guy, and Sabir, the other foot soldier of the enemy, are also being crucified right next to Jesus, which to me is like actually iconic. A lot of people can go back in time, but to actually get up on stage with the man himself, you gotta be pretty special. You gotta steal a special tomato. Sabir is like, he can't help heal Amy because he's not the real son of God. He let all of this chaos happen. And it's like, aren't you dying up there? Sweetheart, let Ram have his scene.
Please! Please save her! Please!
Ram, I know Jesus is supposed to be like a super nice guy, but he's in the middle of dying for our sins right now. And you're somehow making it all about just you. If I were Jesus, I'd be up on that cross like, sorry about that girl who you met literally 2 months ago, but my hands are literally tied right now and also have spikes driven through them. And they got me hanging out here in the desert without a hat. The Son of God is turning into a sun-dried tomato. So maybe one of you people down there can stop weeping for my help and like toss me a Capri Sun or something, just saying. If I were Jesus, I think I would be a particularly selfish Jesus. I don't know what to tell you. I'm obsessed with Ram trying to act at any point in this. He's like, please help me. Like, you sound like Barney from the Flintstones right now, so I don't care about your dead girlfriend. Ooh, it's hot. She's hot. So Ram, unable to get direct help, it would seem, from the dying Jesus, despite being a purported miracle worker. So because he can't get the help, and I guess he just watched the death of Jesus, he takes Amy through the town looking for some sort of healer. I'm like, how critically injured is she? Because she seems to just be napping. But he runs into Simon, Jesus's newest bestie.
They killed you. How is this?
Hold on, what? Back it up. I'm still alive, man. Ain't nobody killed me. I've been stuck here.
Stuck here? You came with me.
Again, Ram, time travel. Just chalk it up to time travel. Also, the director clearly asked the actor playing Simon, do you know who Kevin Hart is? And can you just be him? Also, look at Amy's dead face while they're talking. She's so in character. Nice work, Amy. Giving us gunshot, giving us blood loss, giving us sepsis. We love to see it. You look really dead for this part of the movie. Which is in its third act, finally. Amy wakes up briefly. I'm like, this is not how gunshot wounds kill people. She's slowly dying of infection or something. Like, let's get some mint leaves into that hole in her pelvis. Anyway, she wakes up and asks Ram, like, can I see Jesus's resurrection? That's my last dying wish. And I'm not sad about any of these deaths because, like, it all feels super reversible. Go back to the future and then go back in time a little bit more. You can figure it out. No one's death seems permanent here. And also, also, Ram's and Amy's relationship doesn't feel special to me. I felt more bad for him when his parents were killed because they had an assumed lifelong relationship, where I know him and Amy have only been going out for like a couple months. Maybe if they had started the movie with Amy and Ram already being like newlyweds in a relationship and she's pregnant, like, raise the stakes, mama. I'm sorry, as someone who doesn't care about Jesus dying that much, I need some better stakes. Anyway, so as they go back to see the resurrection of Jesus, Ahmed, he teleports into the tomb of Jesus for some reason.
No need for concern. Just getting a little DNA for my lab.
That guy's talking to dead Jesus now. It's never mentioned specifically why Ahmed is collecting Jesus's DNA, but my hope is that modern day scientists can somehow use it to cure seasonal allergies. If the Lord giveth me sniffles, the Lord can taketh them away. I think it was creative how he used those emergency glow sticks to light up the tomb and give this scene a unique look with, you know, something realistically motivated, because obviously fluorescent green light wouldn't be natural for that setting otherwise. Anyway, the earth starts rumbling as the scientists who remain are watching on, and just as Ahmed teleports back to the future, we see Jesus's body glow and then explode, which gives us the sign that he really did just resurrect, as the Bible said. Although Ram, watching from the outside, is like, that could have all been he's transported out. And they're like, you're in denial. Look, he folded up his clothes, blah, blah, blah. And then Amy, who is just on the verge of dying, gets to meet resurrected Jesus with his holy hands. And he's like, I did all of this just so that Rant would come back to the fold and remember that Christ exists. So he's doing all of this space-time fuckery just because of that security guard who is sad about his dead mom or whatever, dead daughters. Amy's like, you're doing all of this for the sake of one? Amazing. And then she dies. I'd be like, I'm not super thrilled about it. I would have rather lived. So while Ram and Simon are mourning the death of Amy, those two Payless shoe store shoppers give him the time Fitbit that they found. And he's like, thank goodness, we can use this, hopefully, to go back to the future.
You're not leaving me behind.
We could attempt a double retrieval.
You mean like one retriever, two people?
You mean 2 girls, 1 cup? I would literally be like, I'm not risking one of those janky Spy Kids bracelets anymore. I'm just gonna stay here and live out my life in 33 AD, back before we even evolved to have clinical depression. And I'll just continue my days as a carefree sex worker with a heart of gold. And also rotten teeth, I would imagine. But kissing is still mandatory for all of my clients, because Jesus taught me to love everyone. That would be really cool, living in a time where there were no cell phone cameras and no herpes simplex yet. But I live in a world where both of those things exist. They really, really do. Rant and Simon finally, I think for one of the last times, transform into the future using the mom and dad default code that took them to 10 minutes before they were killed. So he's able to shoot those guards who were gonna shoot his parents. So many guns. And then save the parents who are like, I don't know what's going on. I thought you worked for a like blood drawing clinic place, but okay.
What is going on?
I created a time machine. Ahmed used it to kill Jesus. What? My time in this continuum is expiring.
See, the liberals don't want you to know, but if you let your child get interested in STEM activities, you could easily end up executed by firing squad by Middle Eastern terrorists who want to kill Jesus. I know, it's really scary to think about, but that's the reality ever since Obama got elected and made white people second-class citizens in this country. It's true, at work the other day, I got in trouble for saying something racist about Asian people. And it was really traumatizing, because that's like a cultural tradition in my family. The filmmakers saved one unused office for the big climax of this movie. I guess it's supposed to be like the office of Ahmed. Oh, Rant's whole thing ever since Amy got shot is like, I can't forgive Brant, he killed Amy. And I'm like, but you just forgive those 2 random guards who killed your parents? And also, you've been back and forth in time so much, Brant doesn't even know that he killed Amy. So like, he doesn't even know what you're forgiving him for. So they corner Brant in this stupid office and he's like, I'm gonna shoot you because I don't forgive you. But that's the whole conflict.
You don't deserve my forgiveness. You killed Amy.
Like 3 timelines ago. You just got back to 10 minutes before any of this happened. stupid. So you're just crying in an office wearing burlap for no reason right now. Embarrassing. And Brandt here is like, I don't actually know what you're talking about, but I would love for you to shoot me right now. I almost did that before work. So then the bad guys come rushing in and they all got guns on Brandt, his family, and Amy. He shoots the parents in the knees and he's like, I'm gonna keep shooting and torturing people just because. And that's when Brandt is like, I hear a voice. Do you guys hear that voice? And they're like, you're acting crazy for no reason. He's like, no, is that an angel? He's telling me blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, divine intervention. Got it. He tells Brandt, he's like, the voice is telling me be a hero. So Brandt knows that's a sign and he shoots Ahmed and all of the bad guys and everyone's okay now. Also, Brandt gets shot, so he's dying slowly, I think. But he knows that that voice Ram heard was a sign.
My wife. She, the voice you heard. British accent? It's her.
Oh boy, they're resurrecting that British accent again now too?
And you're my hero too, darling.
Oh, I'm not trying to blame Heidi Montag's character for what happened, but just notice how nobody was trying to crush her or her family with the truck until after she put that accent out there. And then suddenly it's honk honk, crush crush, ya bones are splattered on the dust. Ram, for a final like this is so clever thing, has Amy read on her Bible app the thing about Jesus's execution, and she's like, it says some guy in his underwear ran through, and he's like, I changed history. It's like, yeah, but that's what you didn't want to do. It's what you didn't want to do. It's what you didn't want to do. Anyway, I don't care. I don't care about any of this. So then it flashes to like a few months later where all of the science kids are back together. Seems like nobody's dead. So we reversed everything fully. But Brandt really got shot in the spine. And he must be so confused. He's like, I just came to work and then 10 minutes later got shot in the spine and was told in other universes I killed people and saved lives and whatever. So that's a lot. But anyway, the kids are in the basement toying with time. They're in love. And then they teleport Ram somewhere else as like, this is our final chance to fix everything. And it shows Brandt in a neck brace in a hospital. So he's like paralyzed from the waist down from his gunshot, being like, have mercy on me, God. I'm not a hero. And then we flash back to see him and his family back in the car again. And we realize Ram's plan to save Brandt, Ram, is unfolding.
Where'd he go? He saved us, Daddy. Was he an angel?
Girl, I don't know what that was.
Who's Ram Goldstein?
Oh, that's the guy who was always talking about how important it is to never alter past events. But I guess he changed his mind in order to become a magic crossing guard and leave us this note. By the way, thanks a lot, Ram. You know that little girl you just saved? Now she's gonna grow up to be Hitler the sequel. So congratulations, you just f***ed up humanity all over again.
Imagine the world today without Hitler.
Roll credits, but don't think we're getting out of here without an end credit scene. Suddenly, we go back to that timeline where Brandt was shot with sign language Amy. He manages to stop himself from being shot, and then Amy's still alive, so he's like, I'm gonna transport us 30 years into the future to a hospital so that you can be fixed in the future. And I'm like, all these Ram timelines need to stop having their own ideas because we've got clones of him running all around human history now. Speaking of Hitler the sequel, that's actually what we get.
No chip, no scar.
He's clean too, no marking chip.
It must be pretty important to send all these troops.
We need to find out why the Antichrist wants him.
The Antichrist? So you're telling me the sequel to this movie will be about a fried sandwich containing turkey, ham, and Swiss? Okay, that didn't sound right to me either, so I checked Google. I was actually thinking of a Monte Cristo. So then I tried ordering one of those and accidentally booked a trip to Monte Carlo. And then when I tried to cancel it, I accidentally FaceTimed my two exes, Monty and Carlos. So anyway, the three of us worship the devil now, and we only eat greasy sandwiches. Clearly, this movie has had a lot of influence over my life, and hopefully yours too. Are you ready to go back in time and save Jesus by allowing him to be killed slightly differently? Good, because you've been recruited to the future team of task forcing Jesus past. What did you guys think of this bonkers movie? I'm mainly troubled by the casting decision and the really tone-deaf decision to make the terrorist group Middle Eastern, because you know that was done to appeal to people who do not have the most open minds. And the script was absolutely impossible to follow, with tons of extra noise in it that that needs to be trimmed down. Least of all offensive was the actual production value itself, which kind of felt like a sitcom or a TV show or a pure flick show, so nothing we haven't seen before. And again, it's always sad to see such like passable production value applied to a story that might be effective if it weren't so bad. You know, like this production quality of a movie would be cool if it was a low budget sci-fi movie that actually mattered or made good points or had good writing, but it's not. It's just Christian money wasted on Christian garbage. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more faith-based action movies like this. Leave your suggestions, please. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I'm teleporting with a stick in my Whoa, I said that real easy. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus episodes and virtual watch parties. Next, I'm gonna be reacting to your own projects and videos. So join if you wanna see that. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for saving Jesus by killing him with me today. I will see you next time. Mwah!